There we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Chris, and this is Barn on 11970. It is 12:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, November 21st, 2016. And I took a couple of days off because I was getting to the point where I was just watching nonstop depression and anger and hatred from people around this country. And it disgusted me, and I needed a couple of days away from this. And then, of course, when you go and watch YouTube videos, you'll always get your recommendations. So I wanted to kind of see what's going on, just to kind of get a catch up. And I just have to say, like the title of this, what the hell is wrong with everyone out there? I am seeing more division than I've ever seen in my now 46 years of life. It's incredible, the hypocrisy of people. I mean, I am all for people making a stand and speaking up and standing up for what you believe in. But when you are doing it at the expense of others, with such hatred in your eyes and such disregard for people's freedoms, then there is sending a wrong message here. And shame on President Obama for not saying this is wrong. Shame on all of us for allowing this to happen. Shame on the media. I mean, I'm watching people that are supposed to be, supposedly, all about unity and harmony and togetherness, and they're causing violence. They're stopping people from going to work. They're destroying public property. They are covering their faces with bandanas. You ever wonder why people hide? It's usually because they don't want to be seen. So how can you say you are standing up for something of honor if you are covering your face? How do we know who's doing these things? Like I've seen, for example, when Trump became president, all of a sudden you're seeing people, these like graffitis of swastikas around saying, oh, long live Donald Trump or whatever. How do you know who actually put that there? And then people automatically assume instead of investigating. What happened to investigating? Whatever happened to questioning things? People are fighting, they're losing friends, they're losing family members, co-workers aren't talking to each other anymore, there's destruction in the streets, there's hypocrisy everywhere. And I'll give you a prime example. One of the biggest reasons a lot of these quote-unquote leftist extremists have a problem with Donald Trump is their number one thing is he's a sexist and a racist, and all these other things. They never give real examples, but they just like saying that because it sounds right. Oh, they're homophobes, xenophobe. They say all these ridiculous things. They just regurgitate what somebody else says. That's why I tell my subscribers, don't follow other people, because then you're just a robot. But let me ask you something. To these people who have a problem with anyone. And I always say, be careful of anybody, because you never know. Sometimes your worst enemy pretends to be your best friend. So I always say, listen to people, but make sure you draw your own conclusion. Don't base it on the tribe mentality, and that's what we're seeing right now. But let me ask you this. Those who hate Donald Trump because supposedly he's a racist and a sexist and all these things, didn't Donald Trump have a television show called The Apprentice on NBC? He did, didn't he? How many people protested that show? Now, we're seeing now that anything that Donald Trump does, whoever the people are, if they said something in 1947 and they said it 5 minutes after they were born, somehow it goes back to Donald Trump, and it goes back to all these things where if you ever say one thing wrong, there's something wrong with you, and you're guilty with association. Like when people said, well, the KKK endorsed Trump, so that makes him a racist because of that. Okay, so let me ask you, those who, and they've already tried to shut this down, I could already see it, because it says my video card and driver froze, so if I hit OK, it shuts it off. So as long as I just don't do that, it will stay up. So screw the NSA and all of them. But didn't he have a show called The Apprentice that was on NBC? NBC allowed him on. Why weren't they protesting what a supposed racist and what a supposed sexist he was? How come all of the celebrities that were dying to be on his show and waiting online to be on his show, how come they didn't protest it then? Why is it that people didn't have a problem with him with his TV show? What about all of the politicians that loved to knock on his door and ask for donations and contributions? They didn't seem to have a problem then. Now, all of a sudden, because he is the president-elect, and he's not a president yet, so my video saying that Obama may get a third term, that hasn't become untrue yet. And you could see the media and Hollywood and all of these protesters, quote-unquote protesters, they're really children that are acting like immature babies, are trying everything that they can to not make this happen. And you're a bunch of hypocrites. You cannot say you are on a left side where it's supposedly is supposed to be about peace and harmony and togetherness and unity and all these things, and you're violent in the streets and you cover your faces and you go up to people and saying nasty things and trying to instigate fights. That's peace, that's unity. It's sad, it's disgusting, and you're a bunch of hypocrites. How many people out there watch The Apprentice? Now, most people won't admit it. See, I never watched it because I don't watch television. I boycott Hollywood and everything like that now. I don't care about the mainstream media. Those shows didn't interest me. But the fact remains, if it was on for many seasons, and that means lots of people were watching it and they were making plenty of money on it, where was their outrage then? Now, NBC, they have a news station, don't they? How many people, when Donald Trump was not running and he was doing his apprentice, how many of the politicians, how many of the newscasters were outraged with his sexism and his racism and his homophobia? Never brought it up, did they? And now all of a sudden, this is what they do. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Trump is the answer to all prayers. I've been trying to tell people this for the longest time now. If you rely on others, you are sorely always going to be disappointed. And what we are causing here is more division and more separation and easily going to create more laws and control over the stupid people out there who just do not get it. I love the fact, like people on the left, they talk about the fact that they're all into peace, love, and harmony, but they have no problem with third-term abortions. And I bet you none of them have actually watched a video ever seeing what it looks like to tear a baby from limb to limb. And then if you actually Google this, the people that extract the body and tear it to shreds because, it hasn't had its first breath yet, so it's not considered a human being, even though it has a heartbeat, eyes, hands, brain, can have feelings, but that's all right. It's not out of the womb yet, so it doesn't mean anything. But they actually sell the body parts. Where's the outrage there? The hypocrites on both sides. And then you have the extreme rightists that's supposed to be so religious. And yet they'll bomb an abortion clinic because, two wrongs supposedly make a right. On either side, it's embarrassing. And the best part is, I've been trying to warn people for years about how easily people are controlled based on their emotions. Now, see, I can be emotional with my speak because I'm speaking words. And once my words are out, I've let them out into the universe to go where they shall go. I'm not out to try and bomb a shelter or try and go into somebody's yard and tell them they can't have the right to do something because I don't agree with it. What the hell is wrong with people? Don't preach unity by going into a street or a college or anywhere and stop other people from having their right to disagree or have an other form of opinion. The spoiled bratness of this generation me proves why these upper class people that control this world want 1/3 of this world dead. It's because the average sheep out there, the average follower out there, the average insecure person who doesn't want to get their feelings hurt and they have to shut everything down. Because let me tell you something. In my years of being on YouTube, I've been attacked, sometimes very brutally by people. And never once did I get a mob to try and shut them down. The channels that were attacking me back in 2012 are still up. Because I may not like what they say, and I can even be hurt by what they say, but they have the right to say it. And I've never once tried to murder somebody or hurt somebody because I didn't believe in their views. Now, I almost got into a fight back in 2012 because of a moron troll that still to this day watches my channels. But it wasn't unprovoked, and that's because the person was trying to do things that were not nice. And as a man, I was standing up for myself and for my wife at the time. But I'm not out trying to stop his beliefs, and he still makes his ridiculous videos. He has that right. But when you have to put a bandana on your face to cover yourself, you are hiding for a reason. That does not say honorability, integrity, trustworthiness. And this hypocritical liberal media to be outraged over what most people talk about behind the scenes. And most of these people that are so outraged, I can just imagine the things they say when the cameras aren't on them. To sit there and be appalled by what Donald Trump said and not be appalled at the fact of things like what Hillary Clinton did in Benghazi and all the emails. And everybody's like, oh, you can't talk about the emails when you're going to talk about that all the time, so it shouldn't be important anymore? Just because a certain time goes by, and that's what they want. That's why they can have 9/11 happen, and you could say, oh, well, that's so 2001. Why are we still talking about that? Why? Because it matters. Just like the JFK assassination, the supposed one bullet that killed this person from a person in a viewpoint that, you'd have to have that miracle bullet to kill him. They want you to have enough time to go by, or they say it over and over again to the point where you're numb to it and immune to it. How stupid are people out there? This is how laws get created to restrict you even more. You little unbelievably sad people out there that are hurt by what's going on. So you want to get rid of what's left of our democracy and bragging. I've seen signs saying that socialism is better than fascism. Just like getting kicked in the nuts is probably a little bit worse than getting stabbed in the nuts, or better, depending on your point of view, but neither one you'd look forward to. But this is the world that we're living in now. And that's why I didn't vote for either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, because I don't want the lesser of two evils, because it's still evil. But you see 90% of the people saying, oh, I'm voting for this one particular person because they're just not the other one. And people wonder why the world laughs at this country. But the sad part is this country affects the whole world, so everybody gets the last laugh at the same time with this. So I'm angry, but I'll get over it, because my anger doesn't go out towards others and try and cause them physical harm or stop them. What I'm trying to get people to stop doing is digging their own graves, and they're too stupid to realize what they're doing because they think they have a cause. We can change this if we stop and think, wait a minute, let's look at the oldest trick in the book when it comes to war. It's called divide and conquer, where the few can control the many because you get the many fighting amongst themselves. And if you don't research history, you're doomed to repeat it. And look, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're doing out of our own sheer stupidity, ignorance, and vanity. All we want to do now is fight. All we want to do now is make sure we get that perfect video clip so we can put it on YouTube, so we can put the clickbait on there and get 5 million views, because that's what's most important. Not the message, not the truth, not the unity, not the love, but the views seem to be what's more important now. And we could riot in the streets and call it a protest. We can have a president that won't acknowledge it, saying, oh, they have the right to speak up. They have the right to speak up, but not when it comes to smashing my window, destroying a business, stopping people from going where they want to go because maybe they want to get away from you because they don't agree with you. This new generation of these soft people that are offended by everything to where they cannot sit down and debate, they have to silence you. That's fascism. This is what these people want. And there'll be another civil war. I don't doubt it anymore. Because if people are this butthurt by all of these things that are going on to the point where they cannot sit down and reason with people, because here's my thing. When I used to get my trolls attacking me all the time, before I really knew that there were morons out there like that who had such pathetic and sad lives that they either got paid to do it or they did it because it was getting them aroused, that I used to try and reason with them. And then after I couldn't do it, I ignored them. Because I have better things to do. And it wasn't until people kept coming back to me that I had to defend myself. Even when I went to my comic book channel, when I would make live videos talking to people that wanted to be there as friends, I would always get these idiots that would come in and try and start stuff. And they would pretend to be my friends. And yeah, I'd get mad, and yeah, I'd talk back, but after a while, I was like, you know what? They're not worth my time. When was the last time you heard me say the name of any particular troll that's bothered me? Because I don't care. I move on. And that's what these people need to do. Move on. You don't like what the president's doing? Fix it. You don't like what the president-elect is doing? Fix it. Where is everybody? Everybody's after the fact. Oh, I was there. I could have done that. I could have changed it. Well, you didn't, so shut the hell up. And in this world where you have 10 people in a race, all 10 get a reward, how does that teach anyone to work harder? Because just to picture what you're doing to your children. When everybody's got to get that medal, that sticker, that trophy, that ribbon. So if you have 10 people racing, and the one that comes in first, maybe he worked very hard, or she worked very hard, exercised, ate right, practiced, stretched, and won because they worked hard. And then the last person who was sitting around playing Call of Duty, eating bonbons and chocolate bars all day, sitting around doing nothing but complaining of how cruel the world is, gets a ribbon for coming in last. What does that teach that person to do? Nothing. Because that child will say, wait a minute, the person that busted their butt, that probably got up at 6 in the morning to jog, that was putting themselves in shape by exercising and eating healthy and not eating things that taste good, they got the same trophy as I did for sitting on my ass doing nothing. And my parents patted me on the back saying, what a good job. You know, in my days, we had Dodgeball, and you know what? I wasn't the star athlete. I was one of the chubbier kids, but it also taught me to become a better person. I am the person I am today because I was one of those children that was made fun of. I was one of the over-the-top heavy people. I had girls used to pretend to want to date me when I was in my teens because they thought it was funny. And you know what it did? It didn't turn me into a psycho killer. I didn't go around and beating up other people. It just made me want to be better. So I'm not saying that's the answer, is insulting people and hurting people. But you know what? If you've been insulted, welcome to the world. That's how people are. Get over it, move on. And when the world hands you lemons, squirt the lemon in their face. No, you don't want to do that. I'm kidding. Make lemonade. In other words, when something is bad, turn it into good. Somebody could see a pile of dog crap and say, oh, woe is me. And somebody with half a brains can say, you know what? I can take that horse crap, I can put it in a field, mix it up with some seeds, and I got myself some free fertilizer to grow food for my family. There are stupid people in this world and there are smart people in this world. Not everybody gets it because they just had a sugar daddy to take care of them, or they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Sometimes people actually have to work for it. And you know what? A failure is not supposed to say, woe is me. It's supposed to say, okay, I don't have to go in that direction anymore and try and find a better way. But that's too difficult for people these days. They want everything free and think it's actually free. They want everything handed to them when they don't want to get it themselves. They want everybody to pat them on the back and say, oh, you're just as equal as everybody else. Well, stop cuddling your children. You don't beat them, you don't put them down, but you sure as hell don't let them think coming in last is okay. Because it raises a group of babies. And that's what we have. And I blame it on every parent out there. My parents, they got divorced when I was 10. But they at least tried to tell me what was the difference between right and wrong. And even though I don't get things perfect and do everything right, I am a pretty stable person. I haven't set a house on fire. I haven't murdered or robbed anyone. I don't want to beat anyone down because it's entertaining and fun. I want to be kind. I want to be generous. And yes, that means I'll say things that are wrong. Say things that might be out of the ordinary. say things that some people may think is crazy, but you know what? At least I'm not afraid to speak my mind. People are so afraid now to say what they feel because of judgment from others. Followers, most people are. And that's what these riots/protests are. Then you have the media, which is following each other, doing what they're told, hiding behind masks. That's why I don't even trust people like Anonymous. If you have to hide behind a mask, there's a reason for it, because you don't want people to see who you are. And you can have many people watching this right now hearing those words and saying, Chris, you're not showing yourself. Well, go on my playlist. You could find over 1,000 videos of mine where I show my face. I don't hide. It's just easier to just set my voice, because that's what's important to me. I'm not vain. I don't need the people, look at me, look at me. I need to become famous. No, what I want to say is, hear me, hear me. Hear what I have to say, and if it resonates with you, build on it. Stop relying on other people. This is how you are controlled. On the left, the right, the center, everywhere. Whether you live in the United States, China, Russia, Libya, wherever. You're being controlled by somebody because they have different currency in their pocket and they have a lot more of it, and that makes them more special than you, and you believe it. The difference between me and the richest person in the world is he could buy a lot more friends. The one thing I used to love about me is the fact that I didn't date the supermodels of the world because I had millions of dollars to give them. I dated some very attractive women in my world. As a matter of fact, I married one. But you know what? They all loved me for who I was, not for what I could give them. And that should be something to be proud of. With so many people define who they are on the color of their car, on how much property they own, or what kind of suits and shoes and pocketbooks they own. What brand are you wearing? If I ever heard a person that I was interested in ever say that, I would tell them to keep walking. I don't care how great they were, because it means they're superficial and insecure because they need something else to make them important instead of making themselves important. So this is a rant. But this is one of those rants that some people need to hear. This is your hello McFly moment. Wake the hell up. Stop allowing everything to be mediocre. Stop telling other people how they should think. Now, if they're hurting you, that's different. You can defend yourself. You may even have to kill someone. If somebody came into your house and wanted to murder you and your family, and the only way to stop it is by murdering them, well, it's in defense. Doesn't make it always right, but you know what? You didn't go and instigate. So sometimes you do have to defend yourself. But if you're on the aggression because you think it's fun, or you want to be part of the crowd, or you want to be accepted, then there's something mentally wrong with you. And shame on the media, and shame on the hypocrites in government, because now all of a sudden, all the people that are voting for Trump think now the Republican Party is the bunch of angels. When you look at all of these people that have been in this political field for a long time enough to know what's going on. People used to call me and people like me that talked about this stuff the crazy ones. And look what's going on out there. You know what? I may say silly things at times. I may get things wrong. But you don't hear me talking about instilling riots in people and telling people to hurt each other and laughing at other people's suffering. Does it make me soft if I cry if I see an animal being tortured to death or mistreated? I don't give a damn what anybody else thinks, because that means I have feelings, and you should be proud if you're sad of something bad, because it means you could feel. Look at these people marching right now, trying to protect their rights, and these celebrities that get paid to say whatever they want, because they don't want their little fantasy world to be taken away from them. It's sickening what we're doing to ourselves, but you do get what you deserve, you do get what you give. And these people are going to be in for a big awakening at some point. And they're all going to be dumbfounded when it hits them, saying, where did this come from? It came from your own stupidity. It came from your own laziness. It came from your own lack of integrity. It came from your own non-belief in yourself, to where you had to be a follower. There's a reason why most people are not buying newspapers anymore, and they're not paying attention to mainstream media anymore, because they don't get it. And so many people complain, but they still contribute. They don't want to take the sacrifices of what it's going to take to get rid of this system, because maybe they do need it more than they want to admit. And I've made video after video, statement after statement saying what you need to do to get out of the system, and I wonder how many people actually want to do it. Because it's hard. You might have to sacrifice a few things. If the name of your pocketbook or the name of your pants or the name of your car is more important than your freedom and your future, you'll get what you deserve. And you won't see it coming. It'll be a big shock. Just like it's always been in this world, in this history of these people. It's always a shock, but they knew. They just didn't want to hear it. So kudos to all the people in the mainstream media. Kudos to Obama, who wants so much to worry about his legacy instead of doing his job. Because it's a corrupt system. Kings and queens rule countries. Presidents rule corporations. They're puppets that do what they're told. They're punching bags, so you yell at them. And you fight amongst yourselves. Well, as angry as I am right now, I don't hate anybody. I want unity. I want real peace. I want everybody to be happy. But I'm not going to tell other people what they can and cannot do. I'll make suggestions, but I'm not out here trying to stop these people by hurting them. Because last I checked, and when I was brought up, I was told 2 wrongs don't make a right. And you can mold it into any way that makes sense so you feel better and you sleep at night and you justify what you do. Well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess I got to do it. Or nobody else is complaining, so I guess it's okay. Wrong is wrong, and if you don't know the difference, school ain't going to teach you. Not everything should be taught to you. Sometimes you should just get it. So as far as I'm concerned, people are going to get what they deserve. And it's your own fault. It's embarrassing what we're doing. It's embarrassing how easily people are led. And they don't even have the brains to use to get it and understand what they're doing is benefiting the people that you're supposedly fighting against. You're giving them your energy. You're giving them your strength. You're definitely giving them your money. And you're definitely giving them away your time. So keep rioting. Keep spewing lies. Keep worrying about your vanity. Because that's important in life. The religious hypocrites on the right and the supposed righteous people on the left. No. They don't get it. So, I'll have people that will like what I say. I'll have people that hate what I say. I can't control what they do, nor do I care. And I notice that most of my trolls, you go to their channel, they contribute nothing. They have nothing on their profile. They just make fake profiles so they can say stupid things so it makes them feel good. Because I guess that's their version of their porn. Can't get hard if they can't get that turn-on excitement. I'm glad I could fill that void for their shallow, hollow lives. So I want to thank those that actually listen to this. And it's funny. Because I'm ranting, because I have more energy in this, and I'm probably not talking my usual way, I got over 51 people watching this live right now at 1:15 in the morning. I talk common sense, I talk in a calm tone, I talk about peace, I get 14. So people, they don't really want change and healing and unity. They want drama because most of the people, or at least some of the people that are watching right now, and I'm not going to say all, because I know I always have people that come here for the right reasons. Plenty of people are going to watch this for the drama because that's what they want. And they'll make their jokes, and they'll think they're funny, and they'll think they're going to get a pat on the back. And if that's the kind of thing you need to make yourself feel good, you got a pathetic life. I hate to tell you that. We got too many little, snide commenter says, plenty of snowflakes out there. Unbelievable. So anyway, I'm looking forward to the comments. I want to thank those that are here for the right reasons. The others that are here for the wrong reasons, go fuck yourselves, and have a great night.